Hey there, this is Shelby Bates, the Education and Outreach Program Coordinator for IN. Welcome to our self-paced modules, Inclusive Higher Education in Colorado. I will be your host and guide, as well as your contact if you have any questions or anything as you're going through these modules. I am so glad you're here. I hope that you will find them to be really helpful in better understanding what college can look like for students with intellectual disabilities. IN is a nonprofit that promotes inclusive higher education and raises awareness about these options in our state. Our vision is that students with intellectual disabilities will be welcomed on college campuses and allowed to continue their education and preparation for life as these inclusive pathways become part of the fabric of colleges and universities throughout Colorado. As an organization, we're passionate about ensuring teachers and families have the resources they need to support their students who are thinking about college in achieving those dreams. As you'll learn as you go through the modules, inclusive higher education creates access to college for students with intellectual and developmental disabilities and ensures supports are available on college campuses for these students to be successful. It is our goal that upon completing these modules, you walk away and feel more competent and comfortable talking to students with ID and their families about college as a post-graduation option. The course is broken into 5 modules. The length varies by module from 30 minutes to 1 hour. It is my recommendation that you do them in order, but that's not completely necessary. Maybe you already have some familiarity with inclusive higher ed. Maybe your time is limited and you just want to learn about something in particular. No worries. You can start wherever you choose. You can also go at your own pace. You could do them all in a day or over a period of time, like a few weeks or months. So, a brief note on the content for each module. Section 1, Students with Intellectual Disabilities in College, is focused on understanding inclusive higher education from a social justice and national perspective. It lays the context for why access to college is significant for students with intellectual disabilities. Section 2, The History of Inclusive Higher Education in Colorado, dives into the legislation that impacts inclusive higher ed and compares different levels of support available to students with disabilities on college campuses, ranging from learning disabilities to mobility disabilities to autism to traumatic brain injury to intellectual disability and more. It's a great place to just get acclimated to disability service in college versus in high school. Section 3, Colleges in Colorado Offering Inclusive Higher Education, is the deep dive into what college looks like for students with intellectual disabilities in Colorado and covers the 4 main pillars of inclusive higher education: academics, career, social, and independence. We also talk about the different schools offering these pathways, how to find the best fit, and answer some frequently asked questions. Section 4, Preparing All Students for College, focuses on how to support students who are thinking about going to college to prepare for that option. If you already feel pretty familiar with inclusive higher education, this might be a good place to start. And Section 5, You Are Not Alone, Resources and Partnerships for College and Transition Planning, talks about resources that adults with disabilities can use whether they're in college or not, such as Medicaid waivers, the Division of Vocational Rehabilitation, benefits counseling, ABLE accounts, and others. Finally, each module will have a number of additional resources. I highly encourage you to look at those, but that is not a requirement for completing the modules. These modules are intended for anyone, but they do have notes throughout for teachers who might want to complete the modules for professional development hours. If you're a parent or someone else, this does not mean that these modules aren't for you. I am so glad you're here. With that said, we will provide a certificate of completion that you can submit for professional development if you are a teacher and these modules meet the requirements of your school district or license. For each module, there is a Google form we will ask you to complete as proof of completion for the module. After you submit that Google form, you will receive your certificate within 1 week's time. Please note, You are responsible for understanding your school district's and licensing body requirements when it comes to professional development hours. We do not hold any sort of license for providing professional development, but recognize that some teachers will still be able to submit these for hours based on what is required for their own professional development requirements. If at any time you have difficulty or want to provide feedback, please contact me. My email is shelbyb@inclusivehighered.org. I hope you enjoy, and thank you again for being here. To get started, check out the links to the modules found in the video description.